we are good. Trust we had a great night. Trust we are fine. Trust we are good. So today I want to discuss next. We've been having like a series of conversations. I've not been online for a while because I've got a lot of things that get me occupied, and not only was distracted but occupied. And I'm shooting this at the wee hours of the morning when I know there is nobody online, but we could always get to watch it, record it, and still see what the whole story is about. I feel so it's fine. So today I want to discuss the poverty mindset, because you see, many a time when we talk, we would say, "Oh, that person has a poverty mindset. This person has a poverty mindset." And what I have noticed most of the time is a lot of persons do not seem to understand what that term means. Um, they don't seem to understand what that term means. And it's important we understand what poverty mindset means, because you see, at times, one of my egbon would say that one of the biggest problem, one of the biggest problems or issues that you can have at times is um, earning an income that masks the fact that you are actually a crisis away from being poor. So the person is poor, but they are actively earning, and because they are actively making money, they do not know that they are poor. Or another version, another way he puts it is, you are your poverty is marked because you are actively working. That once you get to the point of retirement, the poverty will show up. So the only reason the person does not know that they are poor yet is because, they are actively working. They are earning a salary, they are making money. And as long as you have money coming in, it feels like, Baba, everything is fine. But once that is out of the window, once that is out of the way, the true state of that person's financial wealth would show up. So the question then becomes, what is this expensive poverty, or what is this poverty mindset that we speak so much about? Now, you see, poverty mindset relates to how we deal with money, relates to our relationship with money. Now, I always tell people this, that include when the put side doesn't come out wrong, when I talk about our relationship, our association with money, what our relationship on our association with money. Now, why do I want to be rich? Why do I want to have money? I always tell persons or people that I define wealth as degree of freedom. I define wealth as degree of freedom, which means the more money I have, in quote, the freer I am. Because you see, there are three things I always say people need in life. You need money, you need wealth, you need knowledge. Sorry, money, you need time, and you need knowledge, not wealth. Money, time, knowledge. Yes. Now, but you see, the reality of life is not everybody is privileged to be born with money, right? Not everybody has that privilege of being born with money. But I could have the privilege of, and then nobody is born with knowledge. Key. Nobody is born with knowledge. Standard, right? But everybody has time. Now, the reality is, Because everybody has time, even if I am not born with money, I can choose to use my time productively to gain knowledge, to master a skill, and then use that skill to make money. Use that skill to make money. And this is why I say, you see, when you deal with people that have money, one of the things you need to be most conscious about is their time. Because the time that they have, they spend money in quotes to buy it. Let me explain what I mean. And this is why you see, because I know I hear people say things like, why does this person have a driver? Why does this person have house help? They are trying to be proud. Is pride, Joe? Is this, Joe? But what I have seen is, no, it's not pride. So, let me take for example, just an example. As an individual right now, I am not really a fan of washing my clothes anymore. Now, my not washing my clothes that I use laundry is not a place of pride. No. But because I look at what else can I be using this time to do as opposed to sitting down to wash clothes? What other productive thing can I use this time to do? Now, if I see somebody that has a driver, it is not because they are too proud to drive themselves, but because there are other things they need to be doing while the vehicle is moving. I don't know if that makes any sense. There are other things they need to be doing, which means as a person, if I need to talk to this man that has a driver, I need to understand the time I am using to speak to them. They paid a driver to be able to buy back that time. So, for example, I ran into this influential person, this rich person at a car park, and we are talking, and I'm like, sir, and he's like, okay, the driver is bringing the car. Now, if the driver has gone to bring the car, I need to ensure that I maximize that little time I have with them. Because ideally, if they were not that rich, they will go pick up the car themselves. So, if, for example, they pay the driver, even if it is 5,000 naira per hour. Hey, good morning, Ebube. Good morning, Ebube. If, for example, the driver is paid only 5,000 naira per hour or per day, the few minutes I have, they bought it. So I must be able to engage that time given to me for free, understanding that there is a cost to the owner, even if there is no cost to me. But I sidetrack. I will discuss this another day in the future, how to talk with wealthy people, how to maximize the time and make yourself memorable. To be a different conversation. But where I'm going is, you see, one of the reasons why you were trying to be rich, why you're trying to have money and all of that, is because you want to have freedom. You want to be able to say, I want to go on vacation. You want to have freedom of what to eat, what to drive, where to sleep. Freedom. But you see, the freedom that we want differs in life. This needs to be very clear. The freedom that I want, the freedom that you want, the freedom the other person is trying to get, it differs in life. We are not all aiming for the same degree of freedom. Does that make any sense? Which means what will make us, in quotes, successful is not the same. One person will believe success for them is when they become the president of the country, or the president or the governor of a state, or the head of an association, or the chairman of an association, or just being able to train their kids in school, and it is fine. So, you see, it is poverty mindset that keeps you in a space where you are constantly drawn away by what you don't have. You are constantly drawn away by what you don't have. You are constantly taken aback by what you do not have. So, you realize if you discuss with such persons and you see their prayer request is about give me, give me, give me, give me. Their life is controlled by the fear of scarcity. And point one is, you see, scarcity thinking does not have an income threshold. No. Because you see, the problem is, you think that when I make this amount of money, I am not going to be bothered about how much I have anymore. But you see, that is a lie. Because there is a scarcity mindset that we carry. There is a scarcity mindset. So even when there is money in our hand, the fear still remains. And this is where poverty mindset resides. That fear, that scarcity mindset. The fear and scarcity mindset. And this is very pronounced today. That fear and scarcity mindset of I do not have, I will not have, I cannot have, what if I don't have, I may not have, what if it does not come? It comes in various naming ceremonies. This, like you can call it, I don't have, I will not have, will I have, when will I have, I do not have, what can I have? So, poverty mindset. And this is why you realize that that poverty mindset affects people, that they purchase things that looks like assets, but rather it is security they are buying, not assets. I will say that again. It is poverty mindset that makes some people go ahead to buy things that looks like assets, but truly what they are buying is security. For example, I'll give you an example. It is the poverty mindset that makes somebody that says, okay, I've been able to save 10 million naira now. The first thing I should do, I want to build a house. When I have my house, no landlord will talk to me anymore. Now, with your 10, let's even say 50 million naira, you are buying land and building a house. You realize that many a time, these houses are not built in developed area. They are built in spaces with a promise of development. In spaces with a promise that this place will develop in the future. And the problem with that is, now you have spent about 50 million to build your 2 or 3 bedroom flats or whatever, bungalow or even a duplex, that cannot be converted as an asset should you need to raise money, proper money. Bank cannot even take it as collateral, financial institutions cannot touch it. So you have something that was supposed to, in quote, take a burden off you, but the reality was what you paid for was security to say, well, this is my house. So you have a forced security that is a burden. Because now that you have moved into the house, they are not telling you that, we need to do road, let's contribute. We need to do this, let's contribute. We need to do this, let's contribute. We need to do this, let's contribute. We need to buy this, we need to pay for this, we need to buy this. So you are now at that point where it feels like what's supposed to have helped you is now draining you. Poverty mindset. It is poverty mindset that makes you buy a car. Now you see, I want you to understand that I am not saying having a house is bad. I am saying there is a time when having a house is a liability in your journey to wealth. But the only reason you thought of getting that house at that point was it felt like security. You are buying a car just because, yes, having a car is supposed to be, a norm. Not something that, you need to be wealthy to do it. No, you're supposed to have a car, yes, so that you can move around, mobility, awesome. But there is the kind of car that you buy that this does not show wise investment. You have bought the car now for less than 500k or 1 million or 2 million. But every other week, yourself and mechanic have now become partners. The mechanic is able to budget his 2027 school fees for his children with your car. Is that making any sense? So that in itself can be an issue. that in itself, it's an issue because it's a poverty mindset. It is poverty mindset that makes you think, okay, what will people say? What will people say? Poverty mindset. So that thing that asks you, what will people say? This cloth, I wore it yesterday. I wore it 2 weeks ago. I wore it 3 weeks ago. What will people say? It's a poverty mindset. So what do you start doing? I cannot have only one cloth. Can I buy like 15 or 20? Now the issue is you bought 20 clothes, but they are all fake attires. You bought 20, but they are all what? Fake attires. You bought 20 fake attires, but you have 20 clothes. It's a poverty mindset. So it is poverty mindset that whenever you want to make a decision, you are more focused on the money going away than the, like, you have a loss or a loser mindset. What if this thing does not come? This thing will fail, this thing will fail, this thing will fail, this thing will fail. So you constantly realize that you have what they call decision paralysis or analysis paralysis, that by the time you finally make the decision, it is too late. It is too late. It is what? Too late. Hope I'm making sense. So, poverty mindset. It is poverty mindset that makes you hoard. You see, there is this poverty mindset that even, I've taught in the past that you should budget your generosity. But it is poverty that makes you unwilling to budget generosity. You are never willing to help anybody because you always believe it is never enough. Konito is not enough, is not enough, is not enough. The same poverty mindset. Now, I'm just trying to lay down, what's the word now? Multiple explanations of poverty mindset. That it is actually a thing that stems from fear. Poverty mindset actually stems from fear. The fear of the unknown, the fear of scarcity, the fear of not having enough. That's where poverty mindset starts from. Two, another way we understand or we see the poverty mindset is what we call the cognitive distortions. The cognitive distortions, meaning we have created an unconscious mindset that keeps that poverty mindset alive. We have created a mindset that keeps scarcity alive, which is, for example, the all or nothing mindset. The way we think, the all or nothing. Meaning, there are those people that they are either akaguma, what they call them. So I'm looking at the football match highlights. Akaguma, what they call that stuff. People that don't give things out easily. You are either the person that doesn't give or you overgive. So it's a mental state that has unconsciously put us in a space where we don't even know that that is what we are doing. Like, we don't even know that is what we are doing. A way of thinking that has affected us badly, but we don't even know. A way of thinking that has affected us badly. Another one is, remember we're talking about the mindset now, the brain, the way we have wired ourselves to the extent that we don't even know that is what we are doing anymore. Number two is, in that way of thinking, there are people that constantly, the way they think, it's about catastrophes only. They have a catastrophic mindset, unfortunately. A catastrophic mindset, unfortunately. Like, they are the people you go to that when you are an optimist, they are the guys you go to help you remove your optimism. And you always hear them say things like, I'm a realist, I'm a realist, I'm a realist, I'm a realist. But at some point, you are a pessimist. At some point, you need to realize you are a pessimist. Number 3 is the act of comparison. Like, you don't even know when you start comparing. You compared yourself from being happy joyfully to being, what's the word now? You move from being joyful to being remorseful unconsciously. You were just probably gisting and happy and playing and doing all of that. And for some reasons, you are like, oh, let me pick up my phone. And you just picked up your phone as you are scrolling. You saw somebody, maybe a friend or one random person, and their life looks good. And before you know what is happening, you are sad. Comparison mindset. It happens. So there is that comparison mindset that you have created. You don't even know when it creeps in. You were just gisting and laughing and playing and all of that, and for some weird reasons, your mind just went. Your mind just went, and as your mind went, that was the end. You are back now. You are crying and feeling all sad and bad. And the question is, what really happened? Nothing really happened that was bad. It's your comparison mindset that has taken you. It's your comparison mindset that has taken you. I don't know if I'm making it just a minute. I don't know if I'm making any sense. It's your comparison mindset. And like I said, most of the time, we don't even know when we enter this. That comparison mindset, it's also what? Poverty at work. It's also poverty at work. Why is it poverty at work? Because you don't even know when you enter that space. You don't even know when you enter that space. If I'm making sense. You don't know when you enter that space. You don't know when you enter that space of poverty mindset. So, which means when we talk about poverty, because many times when we say poverty mindset, it is not about what you have in your pocket. Rather, it's about how our mind functions. It's about how our mind processes things, how our mind sees things, how our mind deals with things. Because you see, somebody will be asking, why is this super important? All this whole poverty mindset, why are you talking about it? If this poverty mindset exists, regardless of how much we make, the freedom that money is supposed to give, you would never get it. The freedom that money is supposed to give, we will never get it. That's the issue. Because you see, the whole essence of the money you are looking for is to have freedom to buy time. But if you have freedom to buy time and you use all that time to still chase money, then what's the essence? Because it means that this is what it means. Excuse me. I work to make money. I am not spending the money on myself. I'm not enjoying the money I am making. Instead, I am going back to look for money again. So it now becomes like a cycle. Money, I am working, making money, but I am not using the money. Okay, you want to leave the money for next of kin. One of my friends will say, what if the next of kin not get sense? What happens? What if your next of kin not get sense? What happens to all the money you are making? What happens to all that money? It means that the money don't go now, Abi. If I'm making any sense. So we must get to that point in our journey where we control our mindset. I can't like state that enough. Because if we don't, we will not understand what we are perpetrating by ourselves to ourselves. We will not understand what we are perpetrating to ourselves by ourselves. So just a minute. We won't understand. we won't understand. So, as a young person, what is the mindset? And you see, let me say this. There is this assumption, the next part of my conversation is high earners are not immune to this mindset. In short, if you start making money, you will not know that this thing exists anymore. I was not going to talk about this yet, but earlier today I walked into, let's say, okay, yes, I entered into a conversation. I was not really partaking, but this kind of thing that you are just listening and having them talk and you're just listening in, but you are not really partaking or contributing to the conversation. But it was a conversation around these buckling bags. If you don't know buckling bag, it's fine. But this Buckley is a brand of bag, just like you have Chanel's and all of that. And Buckley bags cost about, if I'm not wrong, about $50,000, right? And what I noticed was, in the whole conversation, there are people that say it was a conversation around, okay, who has the Buckley bag, which one is original, which is not original, blah, 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 blue, blue, blue. Beautiful conversation, I think. But someone in the conversation made a statement that made me smile in my mind. The person made a statement that made me smile internally. The person said, most of the people, let me paraphrase, just assuming I'm the person speaking, most people I have seen with Buckley bags do not have the social strata placing to be contacted by Buckley bag to own a bag. Let me explain what they are saying. Buckley bag is not one of those bags you go into the shop to buy. No, because they don't make a lot of them. So it's not like a Zara brand that will make maybe 80,000, 1 million, what's it called, of a bag. No. These guys are probably making only 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 pairs only, sets only. Which means if they are making 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 only, and there are 7 billion people in the world with minimum 5 million real billionaires in the world, right? They don't make enough to go round. No, they don't. Which means you need to be contacted. And if you have to be contacted, there is a social status strata you need to belong for them to have you come and buy, right? Another example is this wristwatch called Patek, or what's it called, Richard Mille, what they call it. These are not stuffs that are for the poor, in quotes. Now, the problem is there is somebody who is living their life trying to buy these things because now they look like they are rich. And the bigger problem with trying to buy these things is this. When you go out and say you want to buy Patek, Rich Mille, any of these exotic brands, and you probably say you bought, let me give a particular example that we have in Nigeria that I know you all know. A lot of people in Nigeria wear Cartier wristwatch, right? I was watching one, not really watching, I stumbled on one dating show online, and the guy was forming, do you know how rich, what I'm wearing is rich, blah, blah, blah. See, this is a Cartier wristwatch. And the lady was talking to said, how much is the watch? And the guy goes, I bought this wristwatch for, I think he said, whether 250,000 naira. And I started laughing. Why? Cartier wristwatches are 250K. Not in this world, not in the world to come, at least not yet. They are not even 1 million naira. Which means I spent 250K to buy a fake. What is wrong? Because this is the problem with, when I talked about the fact that your wealth does not make you immune to poverty mindset. This is what I mean. That wealth does not make you immune to poverty mindset. Because now you are thinking, oh, just because I am making money, I am now immune. But the answer is no, you are not yet immune. Because what you do not know right now is because you are making money and buying stuffs, you think you have overcome it. But the problem is you are using these stuffs to mask the poverty. Is what you don't know. Because the problem is as you start making money, you are now going around buying stuffs that you really do not need, but that's supposed to fit a social status narrative, that is meant to align with a social status narrative. I was listening to somebody and the person said, when you don't have money, it is okay, very okay, not to wear brands. He said, because when you wear brands, it reveals to those that have money that you are poor easily. It reveals to those that have money that you are poor very easily. Because you are coming to a gathering of rich persons and you are wearing Nike with the logo or with the good mark with a little cross on top. And we are like, oh sorry, and they are like, bro, this ain't it, you are broke. An example right now that I'm sure people that are probably around Lagos or southwestern region would have noticed, what has been raining of recent is Skechers. There is this shoe brand called Skechers. And you now have a lot of people wearing Skechers. And when you just look at it, you're like, that's fake. That's fake. That's fake. Who are you trying to impress? The little money you would have used to grow your wealth, you are using it to buy fake. Just to feel among. So you realize that wealth does not get you immune to this thing. Having money does not get you immune. There is also this thing of money making you to increase your lifestyle. It makes you increase your lifestyle. Why does it make you increase your lifestyle? Because other people that have money seem to have that lifestyle. So there is this poverty mindset that tells you, how do people know you have money if you don't have that lifestyle? How do we know? Because let me give you an example. Everybody that has money lives, let me give you an example. If you know Lagos, most people, it is assumed that if you have money, you live on the island. Abi? Now, small money just enter your hand. What do you also do? For them to know that I have arrived, you too want go where? Island. You too want go where? Island. If you are moving to the island because you need to show you have arrived, you still have the poverty mindset. Is what we are saying. Oh, at your level, you used to buy food. Like you and your guys now go buy food, now go share this. Now when it be like say small money don't enter your hand, you don't want to go down mama put again. It's a poverty mindset. It's what? A poverty mindset. You will see that some rich guys that have really conquered poverty, there is, what's this guy? I don't remember his name. He's a foreigner. Adam Sandler. You will notice that many pen farmer, good evening, or good morning rather. You will notice that the likes of Adam Sandler, when I try to read and watch the lifestyle of people who are truly rich and have conquered the poverty mindset, they really don't care how they appear. They are not really freaked out about what they drive. Even if they are, let me make it clear, they can be car freaks, but they still don't care about what they drive. It sounds crazy, right? Which means they are car freaks knowing, oh, I know what this car is, I know what this car is, I know what this car is. They are crazy enough to say, okay, we are going to Formula One today to rent one of their vehicles to just run around their tracks. That's why they are car freaks. But they are not carried away by what they are driving. They are not obsessed about what they would drive because they have conquered that mindset. They have conquered that mindset. So, lifestyle inflation. Then, there is also the problem with high income Because the problem with high income, when people know you have high income, there is also the issue of what we call social pressure. Social pressure. People start inviting you to places and spaces because they feel you now belong. And if you are not careful, you will be carried away with the hype and whatever of belonging to that space. You will be carried away. Trust me. Because, oh, you used to be that very quiet person, you know, I don't go out, I like my indoor life, I don't like going out. Okay, now money don't show. They are now showing you that you can do indoor life in, let me not call names of spaces. Before you know what is happening, there is now a new lifestyle built from social pressure. There is now a new lifestyle built what? From social pressure. And these are some of the things you need to conquer quickly. Next is what we call, you now need to start doing what we call the mindset audit. You need to audit your mindset. You first need to ask yourself, do I have this poverty mindset? Be honest, nobody is flogging you, it's you to yourself alone. Do I think I suffer from poverty mindset? Do I think I suffer from poverty mindset? I tell people, I say, till date, I am still very comfortable entering an Okada. I can enter bike. I can walk up to Mama Put, sit down, buy food, eat. Like, I'm very comfortable. I am very comfortable going to spaces with my shorts and small polo and even bedroom or palm slippers. Very comfortable. I am not carried away by, see what the occasion, see what in weird. No. And it took me recognizing that I had poverty mindset. In short, one of the biggest pointers to having a poverty mindset is when you lose your temper easily because you are getting broke. When you become emotional just because you are getting broke, start knowing that something is already wrong. Start knowing that something is already wrong. That you are getting emotional, you are feeling bad, it feels like you are crying, you are losing your temperament. You are being temperamental just because you are getting broke. Something is wrong. So, what do you do first? Start with your temperature around money. Start with your temperature around money. I am not saying check how you think, I am saying check how you feel. When you have money in your account, how do you feel? When you don't have money in your account, how do you feel? Start working on that feelings. How does not having money make you feel? How does having money make you feel? The first thing you need to deal with is the psychological connection of your account balance and how you feel. You need to be able to check that well. You have parents today or fathers today that when they don't have money, they are unnecessarily harsh to children. When they don't have money, they are unnecessarily harsh to the kids. They are taking the kids out to say, let's go and buy something. Let's go and buy, not even let's go and buy, let's go to the shop. Because they don't have money and the child is picking toys. Say, mommy, I want this toy. Daddy, I want this toy. They are unnecessarily harsh. Will you drop that? Baba, it is the right of the child to want a toy. It is not their fault that you don't have, but how do you emotionally respond to not having that toy, to not having money to buy that toy? Responding harsh means that there is a poverty mindset somewhere. Am I saying that, if you don't have, am I saying if you don't have money, you should go out, be jumpy and be happy? No. I am saying it should not be an emotional connection, it should be a thought connection. If I don't have money, my connection should be thoughts. It should be me thinking through, how do I get this figured out? What do I need to do? How do I get this sorted? How do I make money? Thoughts, not emotions. It should be strategic thinking. What do I need to do? Okay, what do I need to start? What do I need to work on? Do you understand what I'm trying to explain? It's a thought process, not a feelings. It's a brain thinking. Are we together? Number 2, examine your financial self-talk. How do you speak when it comes to money? How do you speak when it comes to money? How do you speak? How do you talk to yourself when it comes to, I can't get this, or I can't afford this, I can never be that rich. No, this can never be me. How do you speak? How do you speak about things that people spend their money on? Not your money, their money. How do you speak about it? Oh, you are reading, maybe you are surfing the net and they are telling you this musician just bought Bugatti worth 10 billion naira. What's the first thought that comes to your mind? Is that how to spend money? See the way they are wasting money. Baba, there is something wrong with your mindset. They did not say this person took money from you to go and buy a Bugatti. They said they took their own money to buy a Bugatti. What is your mindset when you hear money talks? What is your mindset? What is your mindset? Very important, that self-talk. Next, map your financial triggers, your scarcity triggers. Map out your scarcity triggers. What are those things that trigger your scarcity? Is it that when there is no money, or when you see there are things that makes you agitated that you don't have money? What are those scarcity triggers? Is it that there are people that when you have conversations with, it triggers it? Or is it that there are spaces that when you enter, it triggers it? I tell people this: if there are spaces that triggers your scarcity mindset, avoid them out as much as you can. If there are friends that always trigger it, Baba, get out of that space of friendship. Why are you in a space that takes you to a place when you don't know? Why are you in that space? Never making any sense. Why are you in that space? Get out of the space. Move out of the space. There is no shame in doing that. There is no shame in doing that. I mean, I've given you my story. I've given multiple examples of me getting out of spaces. Multiple examples. There are friendships I lost just because I was not where they were financially. And it felt like, Baba, I don't feel they draw on her back. And I don't feel come where on her day, I'll call they go, they think, say, no. Let me draw back. And it's not jealousy, it's not hatred, it's me protecting my mental space. So, what are those things that triggers your scarcity mindset? One of the things I noticed, for example, about myself was when I started growing financially, once my food is about to finish, I am always scared, especially if I don't have money. So, what did I learn to start doing early? I started stocking the house. So, when I have because if you are in business, you know your money doesn't come every day. As I started growing small in business, once money enters my hand, boom, that this is your small tashere, I take that money, I buy a lot of rice, a lot of garri, a lot of beans, like things I can use to stock the house. I don't wait for that to finish before I restock. So what then simply happened over time was when I am broke, because not having food was a trigger for me, whenever I am broke, it never meets me without food stuff at home. It never meets me without food stuff at home. So that meant that I am getting broke does not now mean that I will suddenly be scared, because I always had food stuff. I always had food stuff. So because I always had food stuff, that fear factor disappeared. You see the way I dealt with it. So even if there is no money in my pocket, I was like, I have food stuff at home, I'm fine, I beg. I'll figure the other shit out. Why? I am never comfortable to go and knock on somebody's door to say, I don't get food though, I beg, give me food. So that for me was going to be a trigger. I had to now figure out, what do I need to do early so that I can kill this trigger, so that I can take out this trigger. They're not making any sense. Okay, so then once you have done that, we've talked about trace your origin story. Go figure out, how did this thing start? How did these triggers come in? Go figure it out early. Then audit your financial decisions that you have made that has become your scarcity fingerprint. There are decisions you have made in the past that are now like fingerprint of scarcity mindset. Go audit it and figure it out. What is the cost of unexamined scarcity? It produces a poverty mindset. It produces a poverty mindset. And the problem with a poverty mindset is you don't buy freedom with the money that you make. Instead, you buy fear and security. You buy fear and security, you buy social status, but you never buy freedom. When I was starting my career, I had the privilege of living in Ibadan early. And living in Ibadan city, Ibadan is a state in Oyo, is a place in Oyo State, southwestern part of Nigeria. Living in Ibadan was one of the best things that happened to my life financially. One of the best things that happened to my life. And I will explain. If you ask people that knew me when I was in Ibadan during my corporate days, I lived in a house that by the time I was moving into the house was up and down like story building, but everything was built as face me, I face you apartments. When I was moving into the house, as a matter of fact, the person that took me to the house, fortunately by at that time, Uncle, what was his name? This Egbon. Hey God, I hope he doesn't see this video. It would be bad that I forgot his name. Uncle Sheyi, Egbon Sheyi. He was at that time no more doing that job now. He's a big man now, big boy now. At that time, he was a security at IITA. And I remember I was still doing my whole signing in, blah, blah, blah letter. At that point, I was coming out and ran into him. And he was like, bro, what you do? Because I was looking very sad coming out. And I said, I didn't know where I go stay. I broke. I didn't find where I go stay. I not get money for hotel. And he said, where you go stay for the night or where you go rent? I said, even if now where I go rent, I don't mind. And he said, okay, their house, where he lives, there is a house I can rent. I was like, cool. So I waited for him to close. I think, I can't remember if I went with him home alone or I went with him and MK. I can't remember if MK followed us, but because himself, MK, and one other guy, I can't remember the third person's name, were all like roommates but sharing 2 rooms. So I went with them, got to the house, then they showed me the room that was free. The room that was free was a room upstairs. The door has not been fixed. It had these oldie days louvers that you open that has this, some people will know it. It had louvers that you open, shook, but the door has not been fixed. If I remember, I think it was 30,000 naira per year. 30,000 naira per year or so. I can't remember. I think 30,000 per year. So you have an idea of what the room is like. And I accepted it. So that night I slept in the MK's room. They had this mattress on the floor, so we all slept with rugs, slept. The following day I got a small student mattress, put it there. Now, where am I going? How did that space help me? The landlord of the house was also a young guy. But when you meet this landlord guy talking, you will think this guy has a mansion. Like when you hear him talking like, I have money now, I'll give you houses. You are thinking about this guy like 1 billion. If I reach this guy's house, but he was comfortable in what he had. It was not like he had no ambition, but he had freedom. When I say freedom, meaning he had freedom from the pool of material life, from the pool of life of status. He had freedom. And the more I saw and looked at people, the more I saw what it meant to be free. I mean, in that Ibadan region, so I used to go to a place to go and watch ball. I used to be a very great football fanatic then. I used to go watch ball. And I will meet some guys in the place watching ball, like some, let me call them daddies. And when we are done and all of that, I'm thinking, this guy has money to buy a DSTV in his house. So maybe a gist comes up and the guy says things like, as I dey come here, come watch ball, na sweet me pass because we go gist. He said, if only dey house dey watch ball, shey na life be that. But as all of us dey here dey watch ball, you go talk, I go talk, you go shout, I go shout. Na the experience be this. I no need to go stadium. Na this one be the real experience. So, which means I realized there was a disconnect. They've been able to disconnect from themselves from the pressure of saying, I want to own a DSTV to look rich. Instead, they've been able to tell themselves the true definition of being rich, the true definition of being wealthy is this degree of freedom. I can have a DSTV, I can choose to go to a viewing center, but which of them gives me that freedom and happiness that I truly desire from life? About a viewing center, not the status of a DSTV decoder at all. Do you get what I'm trying to explain? Am I saying having a DSTV is bad? No. I am saying it must be something chosen from a space of this gives me the freedom that I want. This gives me the freedom that I want. I have a friend that has a DSTV and he will tell you, oh, I like watching my matches at home. I'll be like, why? You say, I know they like sit down watch match for 90 minutes. I'll say, so how do you watch? It's like, when I'm watching, I'm on my phone watching other things on TV. Then checking live score. Say, once I see, they have scored, I quickly switch to the station to see the highlight of what they did, how they scored, and I go back to what I was watching before or whatever else I'm doing. Which made me start saying that, okay, that is also freedom. So I'm trying to say, I am not saying having a decoder or not having a decoder is bad. I am saying, is it for status or for your freedom? Or for your freedom? Because you must always have this mindset, the essence of money is to have freedom. The essence of freedom is to have time to do things that money will not buy. That's the whole essence. You are working hard, you went to school to gain a whole lot of knowledge. The whole knowledge that you went to gain, the whole knowledge that you built yourself up on was because you needed to make money. The money that you are, because when you were getting knowledge, you were spending your time, you had no time for anything. Now you are spending that knowledge to make money. Now that you are making the money, you have made money. Won't you now start buying your freedom back? And when you buy freedom back, you now start having time. What do you now use the time for? That is the true definition of wealth. That is how we start to see whether you have conquered the poverty mindset or you are spending the money to buy more things that traps you in the rat race. I hope we learn in this. I'll try and see if later, maybe today or tomorrow, I'll take another part. I didn't put this on any of the other platforms on social media, so anybody can always come back here and watch rather than always trying to do either TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram Live. I just use only YouTube. Thank you for those that will come to watch, and I hope we are learning. The next conversation we're going to be having is saying no as a financial superpower. No or yes as a financial superpower. Thank you. Have a great day or time.